Hey, wonder what they got going. That's fitting for where I live. And even better, here goes a cattle trailer. I do live in a oil field farming community. To a storage place, see what it looks like. Which actually, y'all can see that little sign right there, I'm pulling your leg. This is my RV and boat storage. I'm just going to drive around, it's kind of cool outside. And I have built 100 units down here. And they're all 14 foot tall, 14 foot wide. And I've got 2 rows here, and I've got 2 rows on the other side. This is a project that my dad and I started on in 2011. And it was basically just a project I wanted to do because I wanted some residual income, because I knew deep down that at 20 years I wanted to get out of law enforcement. And I thought this would be a way to help supplement my retirement income and just my income in general, and it's worked fairly well. However, I have recently got this under contract. I have found somebody that wanted to buy it, and they got it to a price that I could accept, and so when I retire I'll be paying a lot of stuff off, and so my wife and I won't struggle because we will have very few bills. And I think we'll end up with 1 or 2 payments on anything, and one of them's of course just a car, and that's something we're going to be stuck with forever anyway, because I'm always going to keep her in a new vehicle, and I'm going to drive my 2010 Dodge until my 2010 Dodge dies. So here's the other side. I mean, it basically looks just about the same. These over here on my right are 14 foot tall and 14 foot wide and 40 foot long. And we're going to stop for a minute so I can plug this thing in. All right, back at it here. I've hooked in my power. Well, I was going to get out and walk around, but I don't guess I will since my camera's going dead. But that was this little project. This whole project is just under 50,000 square feet. My dad and I, just the 2 of us, framed the entire thing ourselves. We were actually going to sheet it, but at the time my dad was 72 years old, and I decided he and I didn't need to be on top of a 14-foot building with as windy as it is in Oklahoma. Straight on back there, you can see that tree line. That's actually a creek. I own all the land behind this, and so it's going with it too. So the guy that's buying this is really a business guy. I mean, he has like 8 businesses or something, and he's really excited about this because I'm assuming he probably wants to develop this further back or do more storage, cabins, something, because we are not far from a lake right now. We're about 2.5 miles away from Arbuckle Lake. And if you had never heard of Arbuckle Lake, I'm going to do a video about Arbuckle Lake one of these days. It's a man-made lake, and it always is in the top 10 of bass fishing lakes in the United States every year, and it's a really nice little lake. So thus the RV and boat storage right down here by it. Okay, so if you're wondering about JBM RV and boat storage, boy, my old sign's faded. It's been here for about 8 years. If you're wondering about the JBM, my first name's James, and the rest of it's Brian McGill, so it's James Brian McGill. I just couldn't think of anything original to name it. And it was just storage, so I wasn't looking for a real catchphrase or anything out of it. So I'm gonna slide right up here by a unit real quick and see if we can show you all what the inside of one looks like. As you can see, we framed it up and we put our runners across the roof, and then a metal guy told us we were doing them way too close together. I think those are 3.5 foot apart, and then we put our uprights and there are 4 on each wall. Well, we had a guy that works metal tell us that we were way overkilling it, that a roof like this probably only needs 3 or 4 in it to screw the metal to, and it's going to hold it together. Well, we didn't know. My dad, as he calls himself, is a wood butcher. He's been a contractor for over 50 years and taught this stuff in school. And so he designed this like he would out of wood, and we just didn't know. I mean, and structurally, it's way overkill. This one building right here we're looking at right now, when I first built it about a week later and we got it sheeted, 90-mile-an-hour winds came through this area because this is one of the alleys for tornadoes and stuff. There's 2 or 3 places like that in Oklahoma where we see a lot of tornadic activity, and this building itself took 90-mile-an-hour winds, straight line winds, never budged. So being overkill, fine. It doesn't matter. It cost me quite a bit more, and had I known in the beginning that it didn't need to build like this, I probably wouldn't have, because the north building over there on the far side is built like the guy that builds these buildings does it. And there's only 4 runners in the whole roof, but it appears just as solid as this one, and it's withstood some pretty good storms. So I don't know. I mean, we didn't know at the time. One of the interesting things is these doors that are 14 foot tall. We built these all by hand. We built every part of the hasp and the pins and everything by hand, and it took quite a while. And I say I helped my dad weld up the doors. I was still working during all this, and so I would be able to work on it 2 or 3 days a week. And he'd sit around here and make the hasp, the hinges he built. It's just pipe cut and put a pin through it. Very simple system, and they are super heavy, but they're very sturdy doors. You don't really have to worry about them getting torn up too much. I mean, short of somebody running a boat through it or a pickup, which happens. I mean, if you've ever watched people back trailers and stuff, it's not a skill that falls on everybody, that they're not real capable. I don't know how to put it without being mean about it. And if it's something you don't do all the time, I mean, clearly you're not going to be good at it. I mean, one thing you'll notice that we didn't do, you don't see any electricity, you don't see any switches, anything, plugs, anything like that. Main reason being, the insurer I went through advised me that not to put electric in them. Since it was RV and boat, his fear was that people would plug in trickle chargers and just battery chargers. It's a fire hazard because it is around something with gasoline in it, be either a boat or an RV. They're liable to have some gas in them, and people want to put heaters in these things. And he said that was the worst things, because some people won't use a block heater on them like you're supposed to, and that are made for heating things and keeping them just like at 50 or 60 degrees. They'll put just a space heater in. Well, those things will melt down, and you get an animal out here in them, it'll catch everything on fire. So it was just a big insurance issue. It would almost double what I have to insure this place for, and I never was able to do it. I am going to say the guy that's buying it is a little more flush than me, and so he's talking like he wants to fix it up, and he's like talking concrete inside of units and electric in all of them, and I mean, wow. But you know, the more he puts into it like that, the more he'll be able to rent them for, and it could be a very lucrative thing. And I mean, this is one of those things that you build it, it is a money by mail. I mean, other than keeping up the grounds, keeping it mowed, keeping trash picked up, it's just once a month you get a check from each one of these units. So guys, I mean, like I said, I'd mentioned this in the last video that I'd built some storage and that I would get to it, and so I thought I'd go ahead and clarify that, what I was talking about. These are something else that I do. This is another one of mine and my wife's businesses, and in the future I'll be showing the other business that she runs full-time, and it's one of those businesses, though it's a retail store, and she has to be there 24/7. Well, I'll say 24/7. She has to be there at least 5 days a week, and we got our daughter hired for 1 day a week, so she can have an extra day off there, and she really never does. She usually just sits at the store with her daughter, because that's where we all end up anyway, because the daughter comes home rarely. So guys, that's about all I've got. I just thought I'd outline one of the other things I do down here, and I'll see y'all next time.